squirrel wasn't even the target. The real concern was his furry accomplice.
So see what I'm saying? Like, everybody's focused on Peanut the squirrel. But Fred the raccoon was the real target, okay? Welcome to Hitler Reviews, where today we are reviewing the Peanut the squirrel allegations. Let's see what we got going on here. Peanut the squirrel, beloved pet and internet sensation, euthanized after being seized by New York State. What the Peanut the squirrel, internet fame, was euthanized after the pet was seized by New York State earlier this week, according to the Department of Environmental Conservation. What? Why did they euthanize the squirrel, though, as a squirrel? I mean, you know, I guess you could shoot a squirrel in your backyard, but isn't this guy's pet? Why do they kill the squirrel? That's nuts, dude. The 7-year-old gray rescue squirrel, commonly, he's a rescue squirrel? The squirrel rescues people, or did they rescue him? The 7-year-old gray rescue squirrel, commonly referred to as Peanut on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, was put to death, along with Fred the raccoon. Why Fred the raccoon? Not Fred. Everyone's talking about this squirrel. What about Fred the raccoon? No one's talking about, everybody's got a Peanut the squirrel situation sad. What about Fred the raccoon? What about Fred, bro? Come on. Hitler Reviews is mad about this. Hitler Reviews wants justice for Fred the raccoon and for the Aryan race, frankly. So that the animals can be tested for the presence of rabies, according to a statement from the agency obtained by WETM. Where do they find these squirrels, though? Where do they even find them? Where do they discover them? Through tears, Longo with his girlfriend said, Peanut was the best thing that ever happened to us. The squirrel, bro. Oh my God, here he is. I mean, it looks like, you know, it's a squirrel, I guess. Rip, my best friend. Thank you for the best 7 years of my life. Thank you for bringing so much joy to us in the world. I'm sorry I failed you, but thank you for everything. Longo wrote in a caption to the post announcing Peanut's death. Longo also asked his fans for financial help for a legal battle and for his nonprofit, Peanut's Freedom Farm. So here he is with this squirrel holding a waffle. Damn, this guy's yoked. Does the squirrel eat the waffle? Does he like it? Peanut had a healthy appetite and was known for munching on waffles. Wow, how cute. In addition, a person involved with the investigation was bitten by the squirrel. To test for rabies, both animals are euthanized. The animals are being tested for rabies, and anyone who's been in contact with these animals is strongly encouraged to consult their physician, the DEC statement read, according to WETM. Peanut was rescued by guardian Mark Longo after the Connecticut native witnessed Peanut's mother hit by a car. So this squirrel's mother gets hit by a car. He gets rescued by this guy, and the government just comes in and kills the squirrel. Wait, but why? Why did they, I'm still not, why did they even have the squirrel in the first place? What was going on here? Did the feds raid him or something? That being said, the resilient and adorable Peanut inspired Longo to move to upstate New York last year and founded Peanut's Freedom Farm, an animal sanctuary and rescue Oh, it's peanut like nut. It's peanut like there's like a nut. Or I guess you had to say that because peanuts are actually not nuts, right? Peanuts are legumes. On Wednesday, Peanut and Fred the raccoon were seized by the Department of Environmental Conservation after multiple anonymous complaints about wild animals living in the Longo house. So someone made a call. Someone snitched on him for having a squirrel live in his house. This is crazy. So he was seized. A rescued pet squirrel that sat atop a social media and charity empires and seized by New York State, with its owner saying it's slated to be euthanized, according to an Instagram post. Well, Internet, you won. You took one of the most amazing animals away from me because of your selfishness. To the group of people who call DEC, there's a special place in hell for you. Today at 10 a.m., Wednesday, October 30th, 2024, the New York State DEC showed up to my house and took Peanut. He was taken to be euthanized. I'm in shock, disbelief, and disgusted in people who did this to Peanut. For the last 7 years, Peanut has been my best friend. He's been the center of my world and many of yours for so long. I don't know how to process this emotionally. Last year, we moved to New York in hopes of starting a nonprofit animal rescue farm in Peanut's name. Peanut's Freedom Farm will forever live in Peanut's memory. With over 350 rescues who relied heavily on Peanut and his internet family to gather donations to help more animals. So this is like a squirrel celebrity. He's got 80,000 followers. This squirrel? I'm gonna cry at this dumbass squirrel. Yes. All right, we're getting off that shit. The fucking song, goddamn. I don't even know how we'll continue to fundraise for this nonprofit. I'm taking a break from social media for a bit. To the people who did this, thank you for breaking apart a family and crushing any of our hopes of a nonprofit to survive. I want to thank those who have stuck by up for the last 7 years to watch Peanut and his antics. I'll set up a fundraiser for those who want to donate in Peanut's name. I'll never go out this nonprofit or those who fell in love with Peanut. Thank you. So, what was the deal? He was owning animals he shouldn't have been owning. Is that it? Like, are you not supposed to own a squirrel? What is it? Like, why specifically did the DEC want to take the squirrel from him? Can we find the scumbag through a public record request? Like, what was even the reason for this organization to go there in the first place? I don't really care about this squirrel. I mean, it is a squirrel. I don't particularly give a shit, but, you know, I guess it just sucks this guy's squirrel died, you know? If it's his pet, you know? Obviously, you're going to feel bad for him. Lady who called animal control got doxxed. Look up her picture, total Karen. Why did she call animal control? What did she think was wrong? Was it because it was feeding it waffles? Is that it? I don't want to, like, bring up her docs in my video. I don't think that would be a good idea. A woman called in a report. Everybody's saying it's a woman. I don't really care that it's a woman. She was jealous, unironically. What makes you say that? Damn, this guy is fucking yoked. And this squirrel just chills with him all the time? That's so cool. It's like a fucking cat. The squirrel just hangs out with him? He just walks around with this freaking squirrel all day? The squirrel does tricks? What the hell? Life with a squirrel in 1 second. Just eating on a shoulder. Interesting. Peanuts Freedom Farm. Even if it's illegal, you would think the DEC would leave them alone, given it's a squirrel and not actually a dangerous animal to own. Well, it seems to me like what happened is the DEC goes there, the squirrel and the raccoon bite them, or sorry, Fred the raccoon and Peanut the squirrel bite them. So they put the animals down to test for rabies, because I think you can't test for rabies when they're alive. I assume that's why they did it. Oh, the donkey. I don't know if you guys know this, but donkeys are actually my favorite animal. Donkeys are smart. You know, donkeys remember your face. Look at this fucking thing. Freaking awesome. If I could have a donkey in my house, I probably would. Although you have to take care of them, which is probably a pain in the ass. Primink Unhinged made a video where I've been, and the comments are big mad at you. Yeah, I saw that the other day. It was funny. It was kind of annoying because, fuck, whatever. It doesn't matter. Honestly, whatever. I'm just going to keep calling him gay. Whatever. His audience doesn't know that he's not mad about it. They think that I'm, like, homophobic, basically, I assume, is their takeaway. But the fact that they think that based on those clips makes you want to keep going, because there's something wrong with me where I like when people are mad at me. Like, I'm buddies with Primink, so obviously he doesn't care. If he was like, please stop calling me gay, sincerely, I would stop. But he didn't. He thought it was funny. That being said, now that his fans are mad, I want to keep going further. I think it's cool. So why was the squirrel reported in the first place? Is it because you're not supposed to own a squirrel or a raccoon in New York State? Is that it? This title is insane, from Dr. Todd Grande. Fame-hungry squirrel executed by government agents after daring raid. Fame-hungry squirrel. The squirrel was hungry for fame. The squirrel wanted more followers on Instagram. Fame-hungry squirrel executed by government agents after daring raid. That's so funny, bro.
Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today I'll be analyzing the case of Peanut the squirrel. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the incident, then offer my analysis.
John Smith in chat just says Peanut and Freddy are in hell now. Yeah, because the fame-hungry squirrel is in hell. The fame-hungry squirrel is burning in the fires, okay?
Mark Longo was born sometime...
Dr. Grande, bro, shut up. His literal name is Dr. Grande. This is not the fucking meme guy, okay? I like this guy's videos. I watch a lot of his stuff. I think he's a clinical psychologist, so he's typically pretty good.
Around 1990 and was raised in Greenwich, Connecticut. He graduated from high school in 2008, went to college, and became an engineer. According to Mark, when he was in Manhattan in 2017, an eastern gray squirrel crawled up his leg after the...
Emma Lord says, I will eat Moo Dang and gain her power. Do you think you would get a lot of power from eating a hippo? Like, what do you think would happen? Peanut went to college. Yeah, Peanut grew up in Greenwich, Connecticut, and graduated from Yale, actually, in New Haven. That's something people don't really know.
Squirrel's mother was hit by a car. Mark decided to keep the baby squirrel and took him back to Connecticut. The name he gave the squirrel was Peanut. He spelled it P-N-U-T. I refuse to spell it that way.
Base, dude. I refuse to spell it that way. It's funny, when I used to go to Boston when I was a kid, sometimes there's what is the park there? Fuck. I don't remember the name of the park. But there were squirrels in the park, and if you walked up to them with like a hazelnut, they were so used to people that you could actually feed them. You could actually hold out your hand, and they would come up to your hand and eat the nut out of your hand. Now, some would argue that giving a hazelnut will give a squirrel a bellyache. I would argue that could be true. But by the same token, you know, what if it's a really yummy treat before the squirrel dies? You know what I'm saying? He just dead named Peanut. Peanut is the new Harambe. Time is a flat circle. True. Wait, it probably... Dude, honestly, This probably will be a fucking meme for like 4 years now. Great. Shout out Reddit. It might be, I don't know. It could be a good meme. Who knows? We'll have to see how it develops. How much protein does a squirrel have? That's a great question. How much protein is in a squirrel? 21.2 grams of protein per serving. Wow. That's quite a bit. Hey, that's quite a bit of protein. One squirrel. I mean, that's a fucking energy. That's a protein shake right there, okay? That's all you need. Peanut is my George Floyd based.
I'm just going to write it out as Peanut, Peanut. Mark's intent was to release Peanut back into the wild once the squirrel was ready. After 8 months, he set the squirrel free, but a day later, Mark noticed that Peanut lost part of his tail due to an animal attack. Believing the squirrel had not developed the necessary survival skills to live in the wild, Mark allowed Peanut to live inside his house. After adopting Peanut, Mark met a tattoo model named Daniela. She was originally from Germany and lived in Las Vegas. The couple became romantically involved and eventually married. His wife appeared to share the same high level of enthusiasm for the squirrel Peanut. Mark started social.
I like how clinical this guy's being about this. He's like, his wife appeared to share the same level of enthusiasm for the squirrel known as Peanut. I will not pronounce peanut or spell it in the way that he spelled it, but that is the case.
Media accounts for Peanut on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. He posted various interactions with the squirrel, like the squirrel climbing on him or eating. Peanut was a major success, eventually accumulating almost 600,000 followers on Instagram. In April 2023, Mark and his wife moved to Pine City, New York. This is just north of the Pennsylvania border, not too far from Corning, New York. For $960,000, Mark purchased a 5,000 square foot house that sits on 311 acres.
Holy shit. This guy's rolling in it. What the fuck? Is Peanut the squirrel making this money? Or is this from his degree? Because goddamn, that's a good house. That's a good plot of land. I'm in love with this man. Tom or Dr. Grande, take it as you will. I'm in love with Dr. Grande, okay? I would do anything to consume his knowledge. I would consume any bodily fluid he discharged to consume his knowledge. Pause. I'm just saying. The type of dude who knows which foods give a squirrel a tummy ache.
The property also features a couple of barns. Mark and his wife started a non-profit animal rescue called Peanuts Freedom Farm Animal Sanctuary. They have over 300 animals, including horses, dogs, cats, goats, sheep, pigs, and donkeys. The sanctuary was expensive to run. However, the revenue generated by Peanut on social media really helped. Mark said that he and his wife worked 3 jobs to earn more revenue to put toward the project. Also, Mark has an account on OnlyFans where he goes by the name Squirrel Daddy.
Squirrel Daddy? What is going on? What the fuck is going on right now? Did you see that stupid AI Peanut meme Elon posted? No, I have not seen that. The thing is, you said that in chat, and I'm trying to find it right now. And he just tweets so much, I can't fucking find it. He won't stop tweeting. He tweets all day. Doesn't he have companies to run? Why is he always tweeting? Where is the squirrel, goddammit? Where is the Elon squirrel? I can't find it. Hitler Reviews cannot find Elon's tweet about the squirrel.
Insists this venture is separate from the animal rescue work. In June 2024, someone dropped off a raccoon at the front door of the house. Mark named him Fred. His intent was to rehabilitate Fred and release him into the wild.
This is what I'm saying. Why is nobody talking about Fred the raccoon? Everyone's always just like talking about the squirrel because he's a smaller animal. I think the raccoon is cuter, okay? Look at this guy. Look at this adorable little guy, okay? Why is the focus of this conversation the fucking squirrel when clearly the raccoon is way more adorable? Okay, that's all I'm saying. He's drinking Dunkin' Donuts, all right? This raccoon's like, gotta have my dunks, bro. Gotta have my dunks, dude. When my daughter brings me my dunks, oh my God, dude, it's to die for. Like, come on. Respect the squirrel.
Fred spent time in an outdoor enclosure and in a room inside the house. Now moving to the timeline of the incident. On Wednesday, October 30, 2024, at about 10 a.m., agents from the New York Department of Environmental Conservation, also known as DEC, conducted a raid on Mark's property. They had a search warrant for a squirrel and a raccoon.
They had a search warrant for a squirrel and a raccoon. I just, Like, why though? Are you just not allowed to own these animals in New York State? Are you not allowed to own? I had to like look up the law. Can you own a squirrel in New York? Okay, here we go. So we got a CBS News article. Tens of thousands of signatures in an online petition demanded Peanut's return before Friday afternoon, but wild animals are considered property in New York. Under state law, the only way to legally rescue squirrels is to become a licensed wildlife rehabilitator, a process that can take months, and to legally keep a domesticated wild animal, it also has to be registered to be an educational animal. Okay, so basically the argument is he didn't own the squirrel, like officially. He just kind of adopted it without going through the proper channels. That's why they went there. To seize the squirrel and the fucking raccoon.
The raid lasted for 5 hours, during which the agents seized Peanut and Fred. During this process, Peanut allegedly bit the hand of one of the people involved in the investigation. So I guess one of the agents that took part in the raid. Both Peanut and Fred were euthanized in order to test for rabies.
Yeah, okay. That's basically what I thought. Well, you need to have a permit. I mean, there is like, for certain wild animals, like, there is a reason why you should need to have a permit to own it. Because, like, obviously, a lot of people, the average person doesn't know how to take care of, like, a wild animal. Do I think that the cops should have gone there and, like, raided the house and fucking euthanized the squirrel and the raccoon when they didn't have any belief that the guy was hurting them? Obviously not. But in general, like, there's a reason why there's laws around owning certain, and, like, the average person is not, in the position to own a fucking caracal or something like that, or like a wild cat, right? Or even like a deer, right? The average person is not in the position to own that animal because, like, there's a lot more that goes into it, than just owning a normal animal. But they should have fucking raided the house and just put the squirrel down right away. You know what I'm saying? Can we get a cock, pua, and shit on that thing to honor Peanut's memory? No jokes. This news actually made me incredibly sad. Yeah, no jokes, guys. Cock, pua, and shit on that thing for Peanut the squirrel and Fred the raccoon.
There are complicated and often unreliable methods for testing living animals for rabies. However, a definitive diagnosis typically requires testing conducted after the animal has been killed. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. The killing of Peanut and Fred caused outrage among the public. Many people feel that the DEC did not need to be so heavy-handed. Was all this really necessary for a squirrel and a raccoon? Mark implied that a legal fight will be coming to get justice for Peanut. As far as the claim that Peanut bit the hand of an investigator, Mark has expressed skepticism, wondering how the squirrel could do this if the agent was wearing gloves. He also criticized how the agents carried out the raid. For example, he said they treated him like a terrorist, asked his wife about her immigration status, again, she was originally from Germany, asked if there were cameras in the house, prevented Mark from feeding his horses, and would not allow him to go to the bathroom without an escort. Item number 2. The New York DEC said that the raid at Peanut's Freedom Farm was in response to complaints about Fred the raccoon. The squirrel wasn't even the target. The real concern was his furry accomplice.
So see what I'm saying? Like, everybody's focused on fucking Peanut the squirrel. But Fred the raccoon was the real target, okay? Fred the raccoon was the real fucking target of the entire federal investigation. So Fred the raccoon, talk about him more. These videos should be talking about Fred, okay? Because Peanut the squirrel was just caught up in the crossfire. Fred was the real one they wanted, and they put him down too.
One job of the DEC is to protect public health related to the illegal possession of wild animals which have the potential to carry the rabies virus. For over 30 years, this disease has been found in raccoons in New York's southern tier, which includes Pine City. In the state of New York, it is illegal to keep wild animals indoors as a pet. If someone has a license as a wildlife rehabilitator, they can keep an animal indoors, but only if the intent is releasing the animal into the wild someday. So when the animal is ready, when the animal has recovered, then it has to go into the wild. Mark said that he knew it was illegal to have a squirrel inside his house, but he did not have the heart to keep Peanut outside. He claimed that he was working on the paperwork to certify Peanut as an educational animal. Item number 3. After Peanut was executed by the state of New York, Mark made a post.
Executed. After Peanut was executed. They used a fucking guillotine. They used the electric chair, old Sparky, for the fucking squirrel. They zapped him.
Post on Instagram.
Same with Fred. Actually, Fred had a more cruel punishment. Fred was drawn and quartered, okay? Fred was, first they tarred him, then they feathered him, then they tied his hands and legs to horses and had them run in opposite directions, okay?
He said, "Well, Internet, you won." Mark explained how his house was raided and indicated how he was disgusted by the people who did this to Peanut. The squirrel was his best friend, the center of his world. He didn't know how to process this emotionally. The rescue operation that he runs is heavily dependent on Peanut for revenue, and Mark will set up a fundraiser. Mark then wrote, quote,
"It's confirmed they had rabies. It's not confirmed. They put the animals down because I guess the cops claim that Peanut the squirrel bit them. And because of that, they put the squirrel down to test for rabies, to see if the cops need to be treated for rabies, basically."
To the people who did this, thank you for breaking apart a family and crushing any hopes of our nonprofit to survive. Unquote. Item number 4. Who is right and who is wrong in the case of Peanut and Fred? Some people say that Mark is wrong. Others point the finger at the DEC. In my opinion, both of them made mistakes. I'll start by looking at what Mark did wrong, then move to the DEC. Mark admitted that he knew it was illegal to keep a wild animal indoors. He was working on trying to legally keep Peanut in the house, but he had not accomplished that goal. If Peanut was not certified as an educational animal, he should not have been in the house. It's never a good idea to advertise an illegal activity. Putting Peanut on social media may have led to revenue, but it also notified the entire world of what Mark was doing wrong. Knowing that he was already walking on thin ice, Mark decided to let a raccoon live in his house. Raccoons have a terrible reputation as far as carrying rabies, far worse than the reputation possessed by squirrels. Raccoons are one of the primary carriers of rabies in North America. If Mark did not know this, he should have known it. When the DEC agents raided his house, Mark complained about them, which is fine, but he also complained about the people who reported his activity to DEC, trying to lay a guilt trip on them and implying they were actually mad about his clothing-challenged content on OnlyFans. Like this was never about rabies or anything like that. The people who reported him were being moralistic. In reality, whoever reported Mark was only stating what was true. His actions are what led to the problem.
I mean, his actions may have been technically illegal, but I don't know. I guess I don't particularly care that he had like a squirrel and a raccoon in his house that bad. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not that upset about it. Like I'm not like raging at him. You know what I mean? The law itself is not like there's good reasons to not just have any random wild animal in your house. They can spread rabies for sure. Like you don't know what this wild animal you're taking in has. It might infect you with rabies. So obviously it's not good to have, a fucking wild animal in your house generally. But in this case, I'm obviously going to feel bad for the guy, you know what I mean? People can joke about it until they come for your pets. Wake up people to the overreach. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I don't think there's some wider government message here. I don't think this is like an ACAB situation, to be honest with you. Now I'm getting worried. I had a family of squirrels in my attic. I don't want to call animal control because they might accuse me of harboring fugitive animals and I don't want to go to jail.
Mark made bad decisions. He attracted the attention of the DEC. I'm not confident that Mark has been entirely honest about everything. For instance, in various news reports, Mark supplied different stories about how many agents raided his house. In one account, he said 10 to 15 agents raided. In another, the range was from 6 to 8. Engineers are usually pretty good at math. Mark couldn't count how many people were there.
This guy's straight up fucking owning him. He's calling him out. He's destroying him with facts and logic, dude. The comments are not happy with him. The comments are like, fuck this guy. But he's kind of, he's trying to spit facts and logics on this squirrel.
He couldn't get the range down to something a little smaller. Again, 10 to 15, all the way to 6 to 8.
That feels specific this feels too specific to get hung up on. Well, what he's saying is like, he's trying to make the case that, Mark, the guy who had the squirrel and the raccoon, is like exaggerating the circumstances of the raid so that he can like get more sympathy, right? That's the case he's making.
Seems like something's not quite right there. Now looking at the wrongdoing of the DEC. Sometimes people who work for government agencies forget that taxpayers fund their operations. They fail to recognize the idea of priorities, how to spend money responsibly. Was it really worth spending all that money to send multiple agents to Pine City to execute a sneaky squirrel and a rogue raccoon? Preventing rabies is certainly a noble mission, but they could have just called Mark and said, hey, you cannot keep wild animals indoors. There is this sense that the agents were just looking for some excitement. They wanted to leave the office that day and do something more interesting. If that's what they wanted in a job, maybe working for the DEC wasn't the best choice.
Yeah, I mean, I would generally agree with that. I think that sending an entire fucking squad of, even if it was like, 6 to 8 on the low end, as this guy said, right? Even 6 to 8 officers to apprehend a squirrel and a raccoon seems like quite a bit. Like, did they have like reason to believe this guy was gonna fucking open fire on them if they tried to take a squirrel? I feel like the first step in some of the situation like this, where there's no direct harm happening at the moment, is to like send someone to the door with a fucking clipboard to talk to them about it and be like, hey, you're not supposed to be having these animals indoors. You got to keep them outside. You're technically breaking the law. You got to have proper paperwork. I think that probably would have been a better method of operation. Why is this guy so bitter? This guy is the opposite of bitter. This guy is like the most impartial dude of all time. He does not give a fuck about what you think. He's always going to be outlining just like the story itself and the facts. So I mean, he generally does a good job. I don't think it's good to euthanize the animals. Obviously, I don't like that. I feel bad for the fucking squirrel and the raccoon. But like realistically, the guy probably should have had the animals outside, right? He probably should have.
I think it was ridiculous, heavy-handed, and wasteful to conduct the raid. Peanut wasn't a maniacal squirrel intent on world domination. They treated him like a James Bond villain wielding a weapon of mass destruction. The tragedy of Peanut and Fred occurred due to a confluence of bad decisions. Mark, the squirrel whisperer, should have obeyed the law, and the DEC should have enforced the law in a reasonable
They kill the squirrel because it's black. Classic cop activity, am I right?
manner, a way that showed how they were being responsible with money and not just looking for excitement. It would have been better if the bad behavior of the DEC was exposed by someone who was following all the rules. Mark is an imperfect candidate to challenge them. I would be very surprised if he could win any type of legal case against them. Even so, that doesn't change the wastefulness and irresponsibility demonstrated by the DEC. They have no reason to feel proud about their behavior. From Peanut's perspective, this case highlights the dangers of becoming popular on social media. He would not be the first influencer to experience a bad outcome in pursuit of fame and glory. Even the most influential squirrel is no match for the power of the state.
Even the most influential squirrel is no match for the power of the state. DEC arresting furries next? Well, hopefully. I mean, I think that'd be a better use of government resources. It's so interesting that this has become such a big thing. I mean, obviously people really like animals. Well, some animals. A lot of people don't care about certain animals at all. They don't care about cows or chickens if you eat them. They don't care if you kill a squirrel in the wild and eat them. But, with this one particular squirrel, I mean, even I'm guilty of this, right? You see a fucking cute squirrel running around on someone's shoulder, you're going to be like, oh, it's so cute. Don't kill him. You see someone shooting squirrels in their yard, you're like, fucking base, dude. Get those pests out of here. Get those tree rats out of here. Interesting. I want to see what the takes are on Twitter around this squirrel. I'm sure there's a lot of people talking about it. Oh my God, bro. It's going crazy. Make sure everyone you know hears the story of Peanut the squirrel and Fred the raccoon. The Democrats went too far this time. This is the Democrats' fault. The Democrats are coming for your squirrels and your fucking raccoons. This is the Democrat party. It's not the Democrat Party. It's just the government. It's just the feds, dude. It's not the Democrats. The DEC is not just run by Democrats. Typically, law enforcement is run by, I'd guess, probably more conservatives than liberals, if I had to guess. I don't think this was the Democrat Party. It's time to vote out a government that will kill a pet squirrel, but will gladly allow 600,000 criminals with 13,000 murderers and 16,000 knowingly into their country. Maybe Peanut's murder. Okay, this is Donald Trump Jr. I'm going to be honest. I don't think the squirrel, I feel bad for the squirrel that he got euthanized. I'm going to be honest. I don't think this is like some like massive political message. 135,000 likes, dude. 135,000 likes. A dead squirrel is garnering more outrage than a genocide in Gaza, the state of U.S. politics, says Jackson Hinkle. This guy says, I care about Peanut the squirrel more than the entire population of the Middle East. From the peanut to the sea, don't you fucking tread on me. The The internet after hearing what they did to Peanut the squirrel. Americans after the government fucks them for decades. Americans after the government kills Peanut the squirrel. I want a government small enough to have neither the time nor the resources to conduct a 5-hour raid over a pet squirrel. What? How is it a 5-hour raid? What are they doing there? Are they just sitting outside with guns like, come outside with the squirrel? The squirrel and the raccoon need to come out with their paws behind their back now. Put your paws above your head. You're sheltering a cute rescue squirrel without the proper permit, are you not? Bro. Hitler Reviews says based moment. Okay, so I guess I couldn't even avoid it. People are saying that this person is who called in the complaint. How do they know that she called the complaint in, though? How do they know it was this woman? Like what reason do they have to believe that? I said it before and I'll say it again. Liberal white women are the downfall of this country. Look, I don't, love that. I don't know if this person actually did this. I don't love that she called in the squirrel if she did that, but like, is this evidence that white liberal women are the downfall of this country? Really, bro? How is this fucking squirrel's death becoming like a giant political talking point? Here he is explaining what happened, I guess. Peanut the squirrel will be the second coming of Harambe, mark my words. It is, but Harambe, at least to my knowledge, back when it happened, I don't remember it being like a political thing. It wasn't even like most people were mad about Harambe dying because it was like, they were just prioritizing the life of the child who jumped in the enclosure rather than the monkey, right? Like ultimately, that was kind of the dichotomy there, which to be clear, the gorilla's life is more valuable than any human. Make no mistake. That is my real take. But now it's so politicized now. It's like, this is evidence that the government, this is the Democrats killed the squirrel. The Democrats killed this fucking squirrel.
We just learned that they have euthanized Peanut.
And the raccoon as well.
And the raccoon as well.
Say his name. It's fucking Fred.
I am so sorry.
I don't know. This is political. Well, every thing is like everything right now because it's an election is political, especially with just the current state of politics. Everything is political, right? So everything is going to be like, this is the police killed the squirrel because of the Democrats, because of Kamala Harris or whatever.
This must be really difficult for you.
It not only tears my family apart, but Peanut was the cornerstone of our nonprofit animal rescue. And 10 to 12 DEC officers raided my house as if I was a drug dealer. I was sat outside my house for 5 hours. I had to get a police escort to my bathroom. I wasn't even allowed to feed my rescue horses breakfast or lunch. I was sat there like a criminal. After they interrogated my wife to check out her immigration status, then proceeded to ask me if I had cameras in my house, then proceeded to go through every cabinet, nook, and cranny of my house for a squirrel and a raccoon.
They got a search warrant?
They got a search warrant. 4 departments and a judge signed off on a search warrant for a squirrel and a raccoon. And then they took them and killed them.
The Democrats made me stop poop maxing. Well, that is true, though. Kamala Harris is anti-diaper, and that is more messed up than anything else I've heard her say. Okay, Kamala Harris is anti-diaper. Donald Trump, you're telling me that guy's not wearing a big, juicy diaper all day? You're telling me he's not crinkling his way to the stage at his rallies, okay? Say what you want, all right?
Why did they go through all that to get a search warrant for...
Kamala Harris is an anti-diaper, anti-Fred the raccoon, anti-Peanut the squirrel candidate. And this needs to be talked about.
An animal that had been with you very safely, and the world witnessed this for 7 years. Why now suddenly did they show up with a search warrant and take these animals?
We haven't a clue.
This is the thing. Like, if they own the animals for 7 years and there hadn't been an issue, like, I feel like, should he have had the proper paperwork? Should that have been talked about? Yeah, probably, right? Like, the guy probably should have the paperwork from the second he got the squirrel. But did the feds need to go there with, like, a full fucking SWAT team and, like, take the squirrel away and euthanize it? I would say no. I would say that probably did not need to happen.
We don't know who made the complaints. Again, Peanut was an indoor squirrel, not harming anybody. He's been with us for 7 years. Not a single complaint was ever filed for this animal.
You can't own animals. They have souls. Does the Bible say animals have souls? I thought the point was that they didn't. I could be wrong. I'm not like a, Bible expert, but I thought the King James Bible said that animals don't have souls like people. Therefore, they're meant to be eaten and tasted.
We had him for 7.5 years. He became the world's most famous squirrel. We weren't hiding him by any
I'm going to be honest. If souls are real, I don't think animals have them.
means. He was all over TikTok. He became the first squirrel on TikTok to ever hit 1 million followers. He did every news station around the world.
Do you think they breached the door with explosives? Yeah, I'd like to see the first-person video body cam. They should make like a Rainbow Six Siege map where you're storming the fucking squirrel house. You have to use thermite to bust down the door. Everybody on the ground. FBI, open up.
He's helped people. He's helped kids gather joy. And then we started a nonprofit animal rescue called Peanut's Freedom Farm to help animals like Peanut fight a good fight
Put the acorns down!
when they're in a neglected case or they're sitting in a slaughter auction. And he was the cornerstone of our life and our organization. We used his platform to help raise money for the 300 animals we have at our sanctuary.
He has 300 animals at his sanctuary. Okay. How do they know that this is the person who ratted about the squirrel? Like, how do they know this? That's my question. How do they know that this is her? Everybody's saying that it's this person, Monica Kiesler. How do they know, though? You literally, there's no reason you need to own a gun. You literally just murdered my pet squirrel. Support the right to bear arms. He's suggesting the guy who owned the squirrel should have shot and killed the police, according to this guy. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Elon's a silly guy these days on Twitter. She's bragging about it on Instagram. Where can I find that? Because none of these people are posting that. She scrubbed it already. All her data is gone. Well, I mean, even if she scrubbed it, like there's Internet Archive, it shouldn't be that difficult to figure it out, right? Andrew Tate says, if you think the squirrel is bad, you should see Gaza. Slatsism says, the wildest part is that this woman lives in Texas. She was so pressed about a squirrel she saw on the internet that she phoned in multiple complaints to New York to have the squirrel seized and killed. Genuine psychotic behavior. Okay, I just don't know how it was this. Like, how do we know it was this person? Everybody's saying she bragged about it. Okay, where can I see that though? Like, why is nobody posting that? Why is nobody posting where the fucking squirrel scenario took place? You know what I'm saying? You're angry about Peanut the squirrel? Let me tell you, the government has been doing shit like this for a long time. You think you hate the government? I guarantee you don't hate the government enough. Michigan woman charged with caring for wildlife without permit. Animals killed by state officials. They killed her fucking llama. Can't wait for the donut operator Peanut body cam review. Yeah, the squirrel head removal thumbnail. You said Internet Archive. Well, I know Internet Archive can have stuff, but like, I would need the link to her Instagram, basically. White people will literally choose someone else's pet squirrel and raccoon over a refugee in a heartbeat. Never heard of squirrel gang, so yeah, holy shit. Dude, the politicization. The squirrel thing is becoming about, like, immigrants. Like, this person's being like, you care too much about the squirrel. White people care too much. And this person's like, well, actually, the squirrel is not a part of a Muslim gang. Like, that's what this person's like. It's crazy, bro. It's a fucking squirrel. It's a squirrel, bro. What the fuck? RIP to my N-word of the day, Peanut. Biden and Kamala America equals killing innocent squirrels. I don't think that Biden or Kamala had anything to do with the squirrel getting shot, to be honest with you. The DEC doesn't even handle immigration. They would have done this either way. I can't believe the government killed an innocent squirrel. I think this is Waco, to the meme. I'm going to be honest, I don't think this is really comparable to Waco. Ian Miles Chung, the greatest political operative of our time, a non-U.S. citizen constantly commenting on American politics, says, you need to understand something. Peanut the squirrel's death isn't about people getting outraged over a nothing burger. It's not just about Peanut being a cute animal that met an unjust fate. It's also about how the state can barge into a man's home with the stroke of a judge's pen, strip him of all his rights and treat him like a felon, rifle through his belongings, and murder his pet animals over an anonymous complaint made thousands of miles away because the officers are just following standard procedure. There are few places in the free world where the bureaucracy operates like this. The UK, Germany, not pleasant. America is joining that list. It's become overly bureaucratic, and not only is it costing Americans trillions of dollars a year, the money is being used to deprive Americans of their constitutional rights. Elon Musk's spoof account posts a long explanation here. The squirrels wearing MAGA hats. Peanut's death is a wake-up call about bureaucratic overreach. If they can storm a home over a squirrel, what's next? Freedom is slipping away while they follow procedure. Dude, this is crazy. Oh my god, what the fuck is happening? Peanut started a movement. Today, your companion squirrel. Tomorrow, your cat and dog companions. The next day, humans who don't agree. People are like being insane about this. Like, okay, should they have killed the squirrel? Should they have raided his home? No. But the government is not typically raiding people's homes over squirrels in general. Or they're not raiding people's homes because of like a house cat they own, okay? Like, they should have done this, but it's still an exceptional scenario, right? I'm sorry, am I missing the importance of this? A squirrel died. That's clearly very important. They should double down, charge him with a felony, and deport his wife. Based, dude. Fucking based. Fucking squirrel droid, bro. What kind of squirrel is this? What is that? That's not a normal squirrel. It looks like a Pokemon. Why are his ears like that? Why does he have so much hair? That's crazy. You are safe here. In memory of Peanut the squirrel. Hashtag pixel art minted on FND. Also want to point out that this guy was using that squirrel as a prop for selling his adult content. Wait, was he? Oh, wait. He kind of was, though. You can't go too deep into that. There might be some nudes stuff there. He wasn't exactly sexualizing the squirrel. He was like walking around with a heart on with the squirrel gripping him. That is kind of fucking weird, bro.
We lost these to beloved babies.
Just some of the posting is a little cringe, bro. Twitter's nuts. So, Trump is like a fascist dictator, and oh, Peanut the squirrel, I shall avenge thee. Okay, that's a good meme, I guess. He never killed a squirrel, retardio. What the fuck is retardio? I would have eaten Peanut. He might taste good. You never know. What is this? What the fuck? This is fucking cancer. This is absolute cancer, bro. This is actually cancer. Dude, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Maybe it's the best, but I think it might be the worst, though. Why is his head so big? The small hand, is that on purpose? Does he have small hands? You know what they say about small hands? He has 4 fingers. It looks like 3 to me here. This bad boy can kill so many squirrels. Dystopian law enforcement drone with Glock attached spotted in China. I really hope that does not get rolled out. That would be fucking AIDS, man. That would be cancer. If you strike me down, I will become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. OB Peanut Kenobi. Oh, Elon himself posted this? Bro, dude. I'm sorry, this guy, I feel bad for the squirrel, but this guy is so fucking Reddit. Elon Musk is so fucking Reddit, bro. I'm sick of this guy. I can't pretend like Elon Musk is cool or funny. Okay, this guy fucking is annoying. He's so gay. It's not even brain rot. He's just autistic. In America, you have pet squirrel. They send government after you and arrest you and kill animal. The squirrel dad is an OnlyFans hoe. Crazy. Squirrel daddy. Peanut's dad, very kinky player. Bruh. Actual bruh moment. I doubt that random ass lady is the reason brother Peanut got executed. People acting like she hung him herself. I mean, I have no idea if she did or not. The thing is, people are saying she's bragging about it on Instagram. I haven't seen that at all. If she was, that's pretty insane. My inbox is being flooded with Peanut the squirrel memes at a rate never thought possible. Dude, this is literally fucking... This is like Republican Harambe right now. I had a squirrel named Peanut. She died of a stroke in 2009. Base, though. He should have put an IED on Peanut and taken them with him. Dude, that'd be based. What was Charlie's take about this whole thing? I'm curious. Because I know he posted a video about it. Peanut the squirrel situation is sad.
First thing I saw this morning when I went to my phone was a message from Matt, who sent me a really sad story about an adorable pet squirrel named Peanut who was confiscated from his home and euthanized by the Department of Environmental Conservation in New York. So I started my day with a frown. They also executed Fred the raccoon as well, another one of his pets. So the Department of Environmental Conservation was not really conserving the environment. Instead, they were preserving their KD ratio here, just piling up corpses of beloved pets of this man. It's disgusting. The reason the Department of Clowns gave is a load of barnacles. They said they got anonymous complaints, thus they showed up here like fucking every villain is Lemons from SpongeBob, and they confiscated his pets because there was a risk of rabies exposure through him having a squirrel and a raccoon in his home. And then when they were kidnapping the pets, one of the officers apparently got bit by the squirrel, and thus they were concerned about potential rabies. But the only way to test for rabies is on a dead animal, so they killed Fred and Peanut to test for rabies. An entirely avoidable tragedy here because there was no reason to confiscate.
All right, I think this take is going to be basically exactly what you would expect. He wore little hats and ate waffles. He was a danger to no one. I don't even disagree. I just hate Reddit. I just fucking hate Reddit. Well, I don't know. It seems like they shouldn't have sent 10 people there. The guy probably should have had a license for the animals and probably shouldn't have used the squirrel to promote his OnlyFans, though. But they should not have sent 10 people there. Like, they could have just sent him a fucking letter. Give him a phone call or something. I don't know. I feel like a phone call probably would have sufficed, to be honest with you. They probably would have done the trick rather than this entire fucking military operation to determine how dangerous this fucking squirrel was. That does seem like a waste of government resources. Thankfully, I don't live in New York State, so I don't think my tax dollars are directly going to that, but that is pretty annoying. God damn, bruh.